Hello, it's your friend and humble narrator, Lou Brutus here. Very happy to be joined via Zoom by Wolfgang Van Halen of Mammoth, WVH. Wolf, good to see you. I hope your day is going good.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me.
I'm trying to think of when you and I first met, and it was probably on the Tremonti tour. And actually, that was for our show, the HardDrive Live tour. And if I remember correctly, you got thrown into that like at the last minute and had to make incredible things happen.
Yeah, that's a really fun story. I just happened to be in Jersey when they were in New York and needed a bass player, and I happened to have all my gear. So I went over at like midnight and learned the whole album and then played a show with them the next day. Before I knew it, I was a part of the tour.
Well, did Mark like look at his friend's proximity on Facebook or something? He's like, well, Wolf's close by. We can get him.
It was Garrett Whitlock who called me and was like, yeah, I think he's in Jersey right now. Let me call him. And then it just worked out. It was pretty magical the way it happened.
And just out of curiosity, because I'm originally from Jersey, where in New Jersey were you and why were you there?
I was hanging out with Morgan from Seven Dust.
Oh, awesome. Sure.
So we were just hanging out, and I just happened he was like, hey, come hang out in the studio. And I hung out with him for a week. And then before I knew it, I was in Tremonti.
What is it like for a musician? And I know you've been in other situations like that before, where you suddenly are part of something very quickly, and there's no time to really let it gel like it's a good soup or stew. How do you overcome obstacles like that?
Well, luckily they're all amazing dudes in Tremonti, so it was really easy to slip right in, and it was just such a good time. So it really wasn't that big a deal.
With both Mark and also Morgan Rose, whom you've mentioned, I think those two guys are maybe two of the best players and two of the most underrated players on the planet. You agree?
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Morgan is a huge drum influence for me.
What is it that makes a musician good? And then second part of it, what is it that makes a musician a good band member? Because sometimes someone who's good in column A doesn't really work out in column B.
Yeah, I think it just depends. Like you kind of have to play and gel with them, and they kind of have to respect the process. You can't be a selfish person when it comes to being in a band. Like you have to, it's a job that you're working on together. You can't just try and that's why it's, that's just what happens in bands where personalities take over and stuff like that. I think it's just important that you just, as long as you love the music and you have a good time doing it, that's all that really matters to me.
What were your first experiences as a kid creating stuff and making music on your own, and then maybe getting together with friends or something in school and trying to make something happen?
Man, I didn't do too much of that. I did in like middle school have some people that we jammed with. We would like play System of a Down songs that we liked and stuff like that. But other than that, it was never really a serious thing. And then before I knew it, I was in Van Halen. So
yeah, it's that's a pretty big step to take. What was it? Was it a case when you were a kid? I knew guys who were great players, but they were terribly, terribly shy. Like there's one kid, Jimmy Zangakis, who's still one of the best guitar players I ever saw, but never really played too much out of his bedroom.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm terribly shy too, but I did it anyway. But yeah, I just think it's important that you have a love for the music, and that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter when you do it.
I would have to think no matter the size of the gig, because you've played them all, your brain kicks in and you start playing and you kind of maybe shut out whether there's 10 people there or 100,000.
Absolutely. I think that was one of the things with Van Halen where you just get for those to be my first few shows, it's a little overwhelming that you kind of just withdraw and focus on the performance instead.
Where was the first gig with them?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, I've been there at the Coliseum there, right?
Yeah.
So, what are the last few moments like before you go on stage? Because if it were me, I'd probably be thinking, pardon my French, please God in heaven, please don't let me fuck this up,
Yeah, I don't know. We had been so rehearsed by that point that it wasn't really a worry about that. It was just the excitement and nervousness of the moment. Uh, I've always heard that when it came to Van Halen, just from all the the tour people we worked with, that we were always one of the most on time bands. Come 8 o'clock or 8:30, whenever it was showtime, it's like we were never a minute late. We were always on time, and apparently that's rare, I guess. And I didn't really know that, uh, but yeah, usually it was just you walk up to the stage and the four of us hang out back there for about 5 minutes, and then we hop on, and there you go.
I would have to imagine that, your family being who your family is, and the area that you grew up in, that you were probably surrounded by creative people of all kinds, famous people, non-famous people, behind the scenes sort of people. At one point in your childhood, were you kind of figuring out that, oh, mom and dad are doing stuff the other mom and dads don't do, and also the other mom and dads in the area, they're doing super interesting stuff. When do you start to put this all together?
I don't know. It was never really a crazy thing growing up. My mom did a wonderful job at giving me a grounded childhood and not making it seem like it was something out of the ordinary. I think just the craziest thing would be like when my dad would have a show and I was super little, and my mom would take me to the side of the stage, and I would just be like hitting her to let me go so I could go see my dad. Up to him, and before I know it, I turn to the side and there's like thousands of people, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize I was sharing him with all these people.
Well, the song you've done about your dad is it's an amazing piece of work, and for the many years that I've been lucky enough to talk to artists like yourself, one recurring theme that's come up quite a bit, and particularly this year because of all of the things going on, but the theme of horrible things leading to great art. And art that is not only great to consume, it is also very helpful for those who consume it to understand the bad things in life. And I would have to think also helpful in the creator of that art in sort of coping with bad things themselves. So with all of that in mind, tell me about the creation of this song. Because again, I don't mean to harp on it. It's an amazing piece of work. And I can't even watch the video anymore because I watched it once and it was just...
Yeah, I haven't watched it since we've released it.
Yeah. So the song, please. I know that was a long lead in.
No worries. No, thank you. I think when it comes to music or any other form of art, if, at least for the creator of it, if it's well intentioned, it's a very therapeutic experience, and that's what my music was for me. Throughout any negative times I'd been through, like I put everything, all of myself into this music that I'll be releasing over the next year. And Distance was one of those. My father had struggled a lot health-wise over the years. It'd be up and it'd be down, and it was a tough thing to deal with. And that song was just kind of an expression of where I was in the moment, and imagining whenever the awful thing does happen, what I would feel like without him in my life. And it turns out I hit the nail on the head pretty much, because when I listened to the song after everything happened, it hit me in a completely different way. And I was like, and that song wasn't done yet. So it was like, I think I need to finish this and put it out for him as a tribute, and have, the proceeds go to his favorite charity. And it can just be like this last little gift for him. It's almost, I saw a comment somewhere where it's like, it's almost poetic in a way, where when I was born, he dedicated 316 to me. And when he left us, I dedicated Distance to him,
That is one of the greatest examples of the circle of life, I think, that has, ever been created. When the song was done and it comes time to maybe clue people to it, who did you first play it for? And also, when you first played it for family members, what are those circumstances like? Because that's not just like, hey, I did this song, check it out. There's a lot of other things going on there.
Well, all the close people in my life had already heard it because the idea on its own was in existence for a while. It just hadn't been fully finished and then mixed, and you know, the last 10% of the work is what we had to do in order to get it out there and get it mastered and all that. But yeah, it moved everyone I showed it to. I mean, I remember when I showed it to Dad for the first time. Maybe it was out of pride or also just the song in general. He cried when he heard it. You know, and he didn't really even. I don't think he was aware of the significance of it for me. He just understood it as a song about loss.
And, you know, as any parent would be, I'm sure he was just so proud of you, not only for that music, but the fact that, you know, you were able to make it in a very big band and hold your own and all the other things that you've done. I can't even imagine how much fun he had coming out to see you with bands like Tremonti and other combos you played with. That's a pretty special thing, I believe.
Yeah. His pride is what keeps me going to this day. In a way, it's almost like I don't care what anybody else says about me because my dad believed in me more than any other. So
I would be curious. I know you've received all sorts of feedback on the tune. You know, you mentioned the family and how they were kind of there for the evolution of the tune. But once this hit for the public, what was the feedback coming back? Obviously, you know, your dad is beloved and has been very, very important to a lot of people. So this song really kind of, I think, clutched everybody in a pretty strong way.
Yeah, I think it allowed a sense of closure for many people in a way, which was something I wasn't expecting. It was just kind of a thing for me to put out there and be like, hey, this is for Dad. And yeah, but to see not only such a huge amount of people get closure for my father's life in a way, but to have so many people relate to it in general with a loss in their own, because this year has just been so awful. But even in general, and I think that's what, you know, I tend to write my lyrics from a perspective where it's like, it may be a personal, I may be drawing from a personal experience, but I like to write it in a way where somebody can derive their own meaning from it. And it was nice to see that happen to a certain extent, because I think anybody can relate to a monumental loss in their life.
So let's talk about the future, because, you know, I think you have a really interesting and creative and fulfilling life ahead of you, I think. You know, you're obviously very talented. You've got all of this solo music ready to go. And at a relatively tender age, you've got a hell of a lot of experience. So, you know, what do you think the next couple of years are going to be like for you?
I mean, as long as people want to hear it. I mean, even if people don't want to hear it, I want to be making music. But considering the response from distance, you know, it wasn't even the first song I'd planned to release. And to have gotten such a wonderful response from it, I'm really excited for everyone to hear the album.
And
all I plan on,
you know, touring plans, I know it's like looking into like a greasy crystal ball at this point, so you can't give specifics, but tell me about who we might see you on stage with when you take your own folks out.
Yeah. I've got a live band ready to go. We were rehearsing as early as 2018. My father saw it, and he was there at every rehearsal, and he gave his approval, which was nice. The drummer is Garrett Whitlock, who played with Tremonti, so we're already blood brothers at this point. He's a great dude. Frank Sidoris, who's a conspirator with Slash and Miles Kennedy, and Ronnie Ficarro playing bass. He was in Falling in Reverse. Just three awesome dudes and awesome players, and the second we started playing together just gelled so perfectly that we're so excited to get out there when it's safe and we're able to.
That list of band member names, I believe the term is embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, exactly. It's wonderful because they're incredible players, but they're also amazing dudes. So, and you know, we plan on being a family. So moving forward, you practically live together. So it's important that we all just have a good time.
Well, listen, I really appreciate your time. Congratulations on making something so good come out of something so difficult. But I appreciate your time, and God bless your dad. I'll just say this once to you. I got to deal with him quite a bit through the years. Besides the fact he was one of the most amazing musicians who ever lived, he was also just a genuine good guy, as best as I could tell. And I'm sorry for your loss, but I'm happy for you these days. And I hope I see you in person very soon.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.